Secret guardians, starry bright, fiery ones beyond our sight, saints of yore, Buddhas too, guiding lights to me and you.
In Chapter 3, Jian's last remaining family, her Tibetan grandmother, dies of a massive heart attack. Jian recounts her final moments with dear Mullah.
One moment I saw her colours, and the next they faded to nothing. With her body broken beyond repair, her soul took its leave. "Angels, take her," I said aloud. "Take her home." It was a commanding prayer, almost fierce in its intensity. From where it came in me, I don't know. All I did know was that my grandmother deserved to be cared for wherever she was going, because all she had done her whole life, with nary a thought for herself, was care for others, especially me.
Jian commands heaven to do right by her grandmother, to take this selfless soul home to be cared for. Why? Because Mullah deserves to be divinely mothered, for she had by herself cared for and raised Jian in a place far removed from her native Tibet and apart from her own native family. This is karmic justice, Jian instinctively feels, though she would not label her desire as such. She senses that at some core level, life is just. Maybe not that there is no injustice in the universe, but that the law of cause and effect, some call karma, will at some point mete out justice for both good works and bad. However, though one may have a certain amount of faith in the inevitability of divine justice, holding fast to such a belief in the face of travails and limited spiritual knowledge can be all but impossible. Yes, it is karma that souls are reborn into a world of shadow, such as Earth, with no outer memory of past life lessons learned. Not to mention those lessons that still need learning. True, there are etheric memories a soul carries into new lifetimes, but discerning these requires an element of connection, however subtle, with a part of oneself that is divine. But what if a soul doesn't even know such a part of her exists? What if that inner knowing has never been taught in one's outer schooling? What if the dominant religious institutions of her day teach a doctrine devoid of even a glimmer of a possibility that one could be divine as well as human? Or worse, what if a soul senses the empty nature of her culture's watered-down religious dogma and turns away completely from a spiritual path? These are hard questions, and this is the scenario Jian faced as she was suddenly thrust into a world of seeming aloneness, with no family left to call her own. How does a soul feeling loss and despair react in such a situation? Often she seeks comfort wherever she can find it, even if it is a false comfort. This is what Jian did. Out of sheer loneliness, she takes up with one of the young toughs who hang out on Crumlin Road near where she lives. Even though the relationship is short-lived, it sets her down a dead-end path.
Brogan was a lost lad, even further out to sea than me. Deep into smoking hashish, he lived from hand to mouth, scratching out an existence through dealing hash and shoplifting. Our relationship didn't last long. When he began pushing me to get physical with him, I just couldn't go there. The end was the day he got me to try hashish. We were in a back alley hide he'd found, just a weed-choked patch behind an abandoned building set back off Crumlin Road. The first hit I took from his pipe burned my lungs and then my soul. Within minutes, I was falling into a blacker hole than I'd ever known. After Brogan, the cracks in me broke wide open. I left off attending Mass, a grievous step for a Catholic girl. I began spending my nights out, searching for anything that might fill the hole in my heart. When word got out that I was no longer with Brogan, other boys began to come on to me. I tried going out on dates, but they invariably ended with me resisting their advances. I fell in with a strange lot, whose favourite pastime was getting high, of which I didn't partake. At least I thought I didn't, until the night I realised I was.
Jian knows she is sinking, but does not seem to be able to do anything about it. But she manages to hold on to the basics of living, keeping to her daily chores, such as managing her money. And despite her marijuana fog, she still recites the bedtime prayers she has said since childhood. This is no small thing. For feeling guilty and unworthy because of her downward slide, she could have abandoned entirely this simple but important ritual. But she doesn't, even though she can no longer feel the once familiar connection she had with Mother Mary. The marijuana she is ingesting has damaged her delicate spiritual sensitivities, a factor few take into consideration when taking in this mind-altering substance that many consider to be a harmless recreation. This seeming small decision to keep saying her nighttime prayers becomes Jian's saving grace, for the saints need to be invited into one's life to enter. The lesson here is not to forget, and especially when we fall short, that our true nature is divine. And yes, during difficult times, we often don't feel that connection. We may even condemn ourselves for our mistake, which only worsens our sense of separation from our divine self. At such times, this is when faith comes in, another virtue that is no small thing. So until next time, may you continue to shine like the sun that you truly are.